This here is my fruit bowl. So as you can see, I've got apples and pears together, right? Fruit on the counter in a big fruit bowl. Now, the first thing you need to do is ensure that you keep them on the kitchen counter, not in the fridge or in a store or a dark store. No, just keep them on the kitchen counter as they are in a lovely bowl for everyone to be able to reach and access at will. That way you'll find they'll jump off the counter much quicker. And more importantly, while they are on the counter, just make sure that they do not get any moisture. So what normally happens is if you're buying apples and you're getting them in a plastic, which you shouldn't be doing, but it happens, you'll find that then the apples will be a little bit moist. So before you take the apples from the plastic and put them or bunch them up in the bowl, just make sure you take a paper towel or even just a cloth and just wipe them down to make sure that all of that moisture is taken away. And then you can put them in the bowl. And when you put them in the bowl, don't ever wash them, because when you wash them, then you introduce more moisture, and now you've got water to fight that you've just put in yourself. Because the important thing is, while they remain dry, sitting on the counter, air breathing, and having access, or everyone having access to them, they are safer that way. They're going to last longer, and they're going to stay fresh for much longer. And you know, when our parents used to say, one bad apple ruins the bunch, or something like that. I was shocked to find out that that is actually a literal thing. So if you've got one apple that looks a little bit weak, a little bit waxy, and is probably like, starting to get a bit bruised or something, remove that apple. Because if you leave it in the bunch with the others, trust me, it's going to take the others down with it. Because not only is the moisture going to leak onto the others as well, you're going to start getting gnats. That's probably a story for another video. But you're going to get the little gnats, the little insects that fly around once they start to get the smell of the oozing apple, and then they're going to be attacking all the other fruits. So you don't want that to happen. So remember, on the counter is the safest place to keep them fresher for longer. Lovely and air dried, and while they're on the counter, they will fly off, and then you don't have to worry about them going off at all. Okay, so next in line we've got oranges. Now, not only are these very good snacks, they are also a very good source of vitamin C. I know, we all say that. So the trick is to make sure that you eat them, right? I mean, it is a bit cold. It's getting a bit cold now. So as a lovely snack, cut into little wedges. Even the toddlers like oranges. That's a weird thing, but they do. So that's one way to ensure that you don't have to throw out any oranges. But an orange is not one of those things that you need to worry about, because they sort of hold their own very, very well. But what they aren't able to do is they aren't able to thrive in the dark. So if you've got a vegetable cupboard, like I had in my old house, that is behind a very dark door that resembles something of a wine cellar, and you put your oranges in there, you're going to start to see weird things happen to them, because oranges can actually last very long when they are out where they can have lovely air drying, and they tend to hold their own very well. So that is how you keep your oranges. Don't put them away, locked away with your apple, with your potatoes and your onions. No, just keep them on the counter. That way they're going to be alive for very long. They'll actually finish before they get. Now, bananas, I know you've heard before that bananas give off the most, I think they call it ethylene, the gas that makes other fruits and veggies ripen very quickly. So literally bananas are the biggest culprit when it comes to that. And unfortunately for them, the more ethylene they give off, the quicker they go off themselves. So what you want to do is, when you're keeping your bananas, you need to just ensure that you can cover the stalks of the bananas, like I've done over here with some cling wrap. I've done this one individually because I just did it to show you, right? Because, these were going to fly off. But anyway, and I've done it on the stalk as well. Because what you're going to find is this is going to prolong the life of the banana. But unfortunately, it's not going to help prolong the life of the other veggies or fruits. So you need to ensure that you don't keep other fruits or veggies close to bananas unless it's something that you're trying to ripen. I love avos, and you also probably love avos, but sometimes you can't really be sure if avos love us the same way, because you buy a bag of avocado, right? And you bring them home and they're all not ripe. And one day they all decide to ripen on the same day. That's happened to me so many times. So when you walk up to the Evo and you want to eat it, it's already gone too far. So just to ensure that that doesn't happen to you, you need to make sure that when you buy your Evo, normally when you get it and it's not completely ripe, if that's the case, then you can put your Evos on the counter to ripen. So you can have them in a little bowl on your counter to ripen slowly if you don't need to use them immediately. So if you are thinking maybe, in the next day or two, I'm going to use one for a salad or as part of a breakfast, then that one you can take and put in a paper bag, and you will then be able to ripen that one or two on their own without making sure that you ripen a whole batch that you're not going to be able to use. So putting avocado in a paper bag helps to quicken the ripening process. So while the others are not ripe and they're sitting on the counter slowly doing their thing, then the ones that you want to use for whatever use you want to use them for will be ripening in the paper bag. Now, as the rest that are sitting on the counter start to become ripe, you'll actually know it very easily. One of the telltale signs, which we all know, is it actually gets very soft, so soft to the touch. And the other telltale sign is, you see this little knobby over here? If you can remove it easily, then that means that the avocado is ripe, ready to be eaten. And at that point, if you are able to remove the knob and you know that it is ripe and you still don't need to use it immediately, at that point, you can take your avo and put it in your fridge. And when you do that, it's going to lengthen its life a bit longer. So you get a few more days, normally a week, if you're lucky, around a week and a half, with that ripe apple in the fridge until you're ready to use it. I don't think you actually need to wait that long, because I can think of a million things I would do with ripe apples, but I'm sure you'll figure it out as well. So I've got some strawberries over here. And you know that all those times where you buy strawberries and you really intend to do something good with them, but then you forget that they're in the fridge, and then 3 days later you open the plastic and they're all gone. That's not fun. That never is. But when you're buying berries, you need to remember that when you get them in the container, you must just have a look at the bottom. So what I normally find is you will have a little piece of foam paper or plastic that is on the inside of the plastic container that is at the bottom of the berries. So normally what that does is it helps to take in all the moisture and all the liquids that will be emitted by the berries themselves while they are still in the shop, before you've taken them home. But as soon as you get home, what you can then do to ensure that you save your strawberries is you take your dry berries, strawberries, blueberries, not washed, dry, and you can take a piece of paper towel, and put it at the bottom of a glass container, and then you just transfer the berries into the glass container like so. And this is going to ensure that your berries last longer. So the temptation is strong here to test if these berries are still good, but I'm going to believe my eyes on this one. So basically all you're trying to do is you're trying to give the strawberries an environment that is dry, that is going to stay dry, to ensure that they stay fresher for longer. That is literally all you're trying to do. Because what that will normally happen is they themselves will emit their own juices that will start to make the other ones soggy, and at that point everyone else is going to be soggy, and then they're going to spoil. They'll start to get a little bit of mold on them, and then you won't be able to use them. So when you come home with your punnet or your packet of berries, just remember, get a glass container, get some paper towel, put it at the bottom of the glass container, and put the berries inside. And this will ensure that you have lovely fresh berries that you can be able to use, that you placed in your fridge for quite a bit of time. Okay, so I don't know who is with me on this one, but I've got a punnet of kiwis here. So I love kiwis very, very much. And what I find is they are actually very resilient. So I will normally buy a punnet of kiwis and then put it in the fridge and forget about it. When I'm lucky, the punnet that I've bought is not fully ripened, and when they're in the fridge, then they can actually stay there for very long without actually getting hurt. But then to ripen them, what I normally do is I'll get them out of the fridge, put them on the counter overnight, and then the next day they will be nice and ripe. But how to keep ripened kiwis is in the fridge. So in the punnet that they come in, as you can see right now, I've just put them like this directly inside the crisper drawer in the fridge, and that keeps them fresh for very, very long. They don't last that long because I eat them very quickly, but they keep very, very long. But you need to remember that if they are unripened, when they come out of the fridge, you need to make sure that you can put them on the counter to ripen them before you are able to enjoy the lovely fresh kiwis. So the next vegetable we are looking at is broccoli. So I've got a head of broccoli over here, and as you can see, it's wrapped with plastic wrap, right? But it's got this foam tray at the bottom here. So what you need to do to make sure that your broccoli can last in the fridge for longer is you can take off the plastic wrap, take it off of the foam tray, and then put the head of broccoli on some aluminium foil and then wrap it in the aluminium foil. So I'm sure you understand, but I'm just gonna try and show you, right? So basically, that's what you're looking for. So this baby over here can stay like this in the crisper drawer in your fridge for very, very long. Because what you normally find is the plastic wrap works. So if you get broccoli that's wrapped with plastic only, that works as well. But something about the foam tray makes the stalk of the broccoli start to go soft and soggy, and no one wants that, because once that happens, all you want to do is just to throw it out. So if you can do this to your broccoli, you'll have it for you to be able to use in the fridge whenever you want for very, very long. And the same will apply to celery. I mean, if you've got a head of celery or a whole stalk of celery, that's what you need to do. You just cut off the bottom, and then you just roll the whole stalk, all of it, just loosely in foil, and then you can put it in the crisper room. And whenever you need to use it, you just take a stalk out and roll the rest of them and put them back inside, in the cauliflower as well. So that means you're going to have it safe, fresh, for a very long time to enjoy. That's it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and remember to like the video, remember to subscribe, and this time I want to ask a special request. In terms of the comments, I also want you to say what else you'd like to see me do on this channel. So I cook, right? Today you saw I did something else that's different. If there's something else that you'd like to suggest for me to do, just put it down in the comments and see if we can do something about it. Thank you very much, and bye.